Good morning, zookeepers, and welcome back to Mesa Zoo. Today we're going to be making, well, another viewing tower. So if you watched first day's video, you'll realise I did a little bit of an experiment and I made a viewing tower slightly inspired by the Jurassic Park Operation Genesis one. Now today I'm going to be doing another one, but inspired by Jurassic World Evolution 2's viewing platform. Now the thing was, I was still trying to get to grips with the idea of making this work. One of the main things I want to do is to try and make it not look too chunky, but as you can see from the paths here, it's really hard not to make it chunky, if you get what I mean. I do want to try and make a skinnier tower and it still be able to be used. So probably something I'll need to figure out myself to see if I can make that path any less as big as it is, because obviously these look quite chunky, and to me in my head it looks kind of like it looks like it's too big and not tall enough for what it is. But then if I make it as tall as it should be, so it looks alright and not too chunky, then it kind of looks silly because of how tall it is. Obviously the tallest creature we've got are giraffes, and they're not as tall as this building as it is already. But however, I do like it as a sort of viewing platform because you get to see everything. Now I am this video just going to be showing you how I made my little viewing gallery platform tower thingy, whatever you want to call it, and I'm deciding, do I make a large plains for buffalo, or do I do a mixed savanna enclosure on Mesa Zoo? It's something I haven't quite decided yet. I still like the idea of having loads of buffalo knocking about and it just be a nice viewing tower to look over that enclosure, but again I feel like it also works quite nicely for a mixed savanna enclosure. So yeah, I'm still sort of playing in my head what I want to do next week for the enclosure that actually this building is for. But as well, looking at it, I feel like they would make a cool restaurant if I could somehow make that work, and maybe something I might do in the future. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. There's a restaurant that's basically in the air in the tower, and I feel like that would look really cool as a centerpiece to the zoo. On the ground floors all around it, it could be I can't remember the name. I always ask my partner what the name of this place is, but in Disney World, Land, whatever you want to call it, I can't remember the name. They have this place where it's all food courts and things like that. So I feel like it'd be a really cool idea to have like a circle area, food courts, shops and things like this, and then in the center this tower restaurant overlooking the whole of the zoo. I'd say I'm kind of in my head thinking I want to do with Mesa Zoo. I feel like it will look really cool, it'll be interesting, and probably going to be interesting for me to make anyways. I don't really build that many buildings. As far as building goes, it's really for shelters. I don't really make my own restaurants or prefabs and things like that for this. So really I'm going to be doing a fair bit of experimenting and getting out of my comfort zone of just making an enclosure, and actually try and add some infrastructure and things like that to my parks, and so get to grips with that side of this game. I notice it more with when I'm building things on Planet Coaster, that I'm having to figure out how to do buildings and try and make them look real and textured rather than just being some flat brickwork. So yeah, that's a bit of a learning curve for me, but one I'm definitely enjoying, and making this was so much fun. I had a little reference picture on my second monitor and I kept looking over, seeing what else could I add to this to make it look similar but not too similar that it's a one-to-one copy, because obviously it needs to fit in our Planet Zoo vibe. Like I said, it's already really tall for what it is, but it does add for an interesting overview. And see, I've got the trusty archer in there, just so I have a rough idea, knowing that I've not made the roof too short. I want it to be quite big inside. I want to be able to put information boards and things like this, so you go up there, you're not just looking at dinosaurs, looking at animals even. I play way too much Jurassic World Evolution. So yeah, you're not looking at just the animals, you also got some learning information knocking about. I would have loved to have it so the path also went to the back of it, because then I could have done enclosures either side. I mean, I still can, it's just the guests won't be able to use that side. There was no way of me keeping it this narrow and getting the path to work on either side for some reason. The path was obviously going to hit the guests' heads, so or another. Now I was kind of experimenting up here to see if I could get the whole thing kind of glass, but in the end I didn't really like the look of it. I was trying different bits, having a look at different things I could use. In the end I just chose to have like a centre square. Like, I just didn't like the look of like the glass sort of onto the glass, because it made certain areas darker than others and it looked weird. So I just thought, you know what, we'll concrete the top and we'll just have a singular glass window on the top. And I mean, it still looks nice. I still enjoyed the look of it, even though it wasn't what I was initially going for. And then we added a load of lights in it to make sure it's nice and bright and lit up. And when you put it into like nighttime mode, it looks really interesting, and I really like the look of it. As well, we're going to add our TV screens so they're up high, and I did angle them slightly off camera so then they can get a better view without hurting their necks too much, and a few information boards against the wall. Originally I was going to have chairs up there, but I couldn't get them to look the way I wanted them, and yeah. So we're going to do the entrance part of this now, which is the building on the side of it, and this is how they're going to get in. Also, I don't decorate the inside of it because I'm just having it so it's a fixture that they just walk through to get to the stairs. Maybe I might come back to it and completely decorate the inside, but for me right now, I didn't feel like I needed to. I am planning on having this as also the entrance for the keepers to be able to get into the enclosure. On the actual building itself, it does have a door either side of it, and it's like a little door, and yeah, so that's going to be where the keepers get into the enclosure. As you can see, I sort of nicked my old building, that is my old viewing gallery that I made, and I nicked the roof of it just to sort of make it a little bit easier for me, and I have a rough idea of what I want. On the actual building in the game, it has two, but I decided I didn't want them that wide, so I made it so it's three of them, and also you can see me right now just stretching it out just to make it go the length of the building. And I really do like this style roof. I thought it was really cool. Like, they're just really interesting designs, and I feel like I'm going to probably try and improve the way I make my roofs like this kind of style anyways. Like, I'm happy with it, just not 100%. I feel like there's something else I can do to make it look more textured in a sense. Like, I used the wood there, but then I like on the grooves, but then I feel like, is that really the right wood to use for this? I mean, it stands out for sure, it looks interesting, but then again, I'm glancing at it from a distance, like, do I change that bit? So it may be something I do go back to and have like a little nosy and see what I can do differently, if I can make it look better than it already is. Like, I really do like the look of it. And then at the top here, we notice a bit of like glass windows and things like this. Originally I was going to try and see if I can get the windows blue. It just wasn't working in my favour, and I'm just sort of placed it on the concrete. I didn't want to have to faff around with loads of different concrete blocks, especially with the building not being decorated on the inside, and we're not really going into the inside of it. In the future, like I said, I probably will do it. Might even add a few exhibits in there, more learning opportunities, things like this, maybe even a keeper building. We can see I was just messing around with different windows, hoping to get the desired effects I wanted. I didn't quite get the desired effect, but nevertheless, from a distance, this actually looks quite nice. And yeah, like I said again, when I come back to this building and want to make it so it has insides, then I will go back and upgrade that. Now, I will be adding this to my workshop, so if you wish to add this to your parks, and if you want to do your own improvements, it'd be really cool to see what people do with it, especially if they decorate the inside and make the inside of something, and even if they find a way of making the path skinnier, if that's possible, that'd be really cool to see. But nevertheless, this build, I enjoyed doing this. I think I spent possibly 2 hours just going back and forth with my reference and messing with things, trying to find different parts, different building items to see what looked better, and I was just like fiddling around things, changing sizes, and that's why it took so long. Obviously I've cut this way down so it's not like a really long video, because obviously it's just me building a building essentially, and I thought, I don't know, It feels weird not actually making an enclosure. I'm making a building, and then next Saturday I'll be making the enclosure for this building. It feels kind of strange to me personally, but then I don't know what kind of videos people want. Do they want really long ones, or do they prefer the shorter videos? I know for me, I have a very short attention span. Usually if I'm watching or listening to long videos, it's background stuff, so stuff I have in the background whilst I'm like editing videos and things like this. I won't always just sit there and watch like a really long video. So yeah, I try and make them as short as I possibly can. But this is the end result. I'm really happy with it. I really like the look of it. It's very interesting, and the fact it's actually like you can use it, guests can go up there, is really cool. And like I said, this is more still of an experiment for me. I'm still trying out new things to try and make something a little bit interesting in my zoo rather than just the enclosures. And I was very, like I said, I'm happy with this build. And it'd be interesting to see what you guys think about this build, and I hope it's giving you some like inspiration with your building ideas and things like this. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of this little preview.